And we did see as much as 3+ inches of rainfall out in Balmorhea. That's where we really just saw tons and tons of rain piling up. Over 3 inches there. You get a little bit further up I-20. Numbers start to get a bit more reasonable, but still 2.5 inches up into Odessa Midland. Over an inch of rainfall. Plenty more than enough to cause some of that flooding out there. We had flood advisories. We had the flash flood watch. We continued to see a lot of activity. Just very, very heavy rain throughout the course of the day yesterday. But now, different story. Just a little bit of low cloud cover. Really not seeing too much in terms of storms developing. In fact, there was only one storm that we were watching earlier this afternoon. It's up here to the north, and by this point, even that has fizzled out. Really not looking at any activity right at the moment, at least not here in West Texas. You go a little bit further off to the east, yeah, there is some. Outside of San Angelo, Abilene, that's where we're seeing a line of storms setting up right now. But for most of us, we're continuing to see some fairly dry conditions. I mean, ignoring what's still on the ground, not so much falling from the air. So what do we have moving forward? Any more rain chances in our forecast? Scattered storms at best. That's what we're going to be seeing throughout the rest of the evening tonight. Just a couple of little isolated storms in parts of the basin, the Trans-Pecos. A lot of cloud cover sticking around into tomorrow. Once we get into tomorrow evening, get a chance for a line of storms to develop, but it's kind of tough to see. This is what we're calling a line. It's really just a few isolated spots, but put it together, you get an idea that this is all developing along the same boundary. And this is when we get a chance to see some of these storms developing a little bit stronger, and that outside chance to see some more severe weather in our forecast Friday night and then again Saturday night. There will still be a couple of chances for some severe weather risk in this forecast, but not today. So why not today? What's going different? Well, the big difference is if you go a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, it's pretty dry. When we're looking at those dusty colors on our water vapor, that is dry air. It's the blue-greens that indicate that moisture, and over West Texas, we're actually getting a dry pocket moving through, and that's going to help us to avoid any major rain chances through the rest of the day today. Still a lot of moisture down near the surface, though. Dew points 50s, 60s out there, and that is going to play into that chance for some severe weather over the next couple of days, because watch this. Into tomorrow evening, start to get a dry line setting up in the far western edge of the viewing area. That's where we could see a few storms developing Friday night, and then again Saturday afternoon we get another dry line beginning to develop. So we're still not completely out of the woods yet. In fact, we do have a marginal risk for severe storms tomorrow. This is issued by the Storm Prediction Center, covering the western edge of the viewing area. Again on Saturday, this time in the eastern portion of the basin. So we're still not completely through with these storms just yet, but for now we get a little bit of a lull throughout the rest of the day on Thursday. Temperature is a bit cooler right now, sitting in the mid-70s for the most part. That's going to help us to avoid any major severe weather risk as well. You need some heat to actually help to fuel these storms. That's just not in the forecast. Overnight lows dropping down into the 60s tonight, and then tomorrow afternoon still staying fairly cool. We're only looking at highs getting into the mid to upper 70s, lower 80s for tomorrow afternoon. 80 degrees in Andrews, 82 in Giles, 77 in Big Spring. Get a little bit of an east-west divide. 70s in Rankin, Big Lake, Cope Ranch, but then those 80s into Penwell, Monahans, Grand Falls, Barstow, mid-80s. Down into the Trans-Pecos, a little bit warmer. Balmorhea, 87, Pecos, 86. That's the area we could see a couple of storms popping up later tomorrow evening. And then down into the Davis Mountains, a little bit warmer, especially when you get into that southern border. 93 degrees tomorrow afternoon in Presidio. Next few days, continuing that outside chance for some storms in this forecast. A lot of cloud cover sticking around through the weekend, through that Easter weekend. Now, the good news is that while we might see a few storms, these are going to be isolated. I wouldn't say to change any of your Easter holiday plans quite yet, but keep that in mind that with these storms on the way, you might need an alternative if you have any outdoor plans, especially Sunday evening. Could be looking at some more storms in the forecast.